Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from the Washington Post by Roxanne Roberts. It was published on November 10th, and it's such a shit show of propaganda that it's in their style section. The Rise and Fall of the Podestas, Washington's most powerful political brother act. Oh, let's get into this fucking propaganda piece of shit here, because it's actually kind of funny how they start out. For more than 30 years, the Podesta name was gold in Washington. Tony Podesta was a respected lobbyist and a fundraiser for Democratic candidates. His younger brother, John, served as Bill Clinton's White House chief of staff and as a senior counselor to Barack Obama. Together they were the most powerful brother act in liberal politics since the Kennedys. Okay, first off, how dare you compare Bobby and John to these shit stains? Because, what's your fucking name, Roxanne? That is basically making the Kennedys out to be fucking scummy sleazeballs. That's what you're doing. Because it isn't the other way around. Okay? And why don't we make it accurate? In leftist, globalist politics is what they were, the most powerful brothers of. Okay? Then John became chairman of Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign, putting the Podestas in the crosshairs of the alt-right. No! Putting them in the crosshairs of anyone who was, not with her. Putting them in the crosshairs of anyone right of Marx. It wasn't the alt-right, okay? Because regular old conservatives had them in the crosshairs, all right? Unless they were neocon establishment sellouts. Yeah, the alternative media had it out for them. Because, this was before my time out here doing this, but the alternative media were the ones who were going after them. It wasn't the alt-right. The alt-right is a few thousand people. You can't try to claim anyone right of Marx or anyone that wasn't with Hillary or anyone who was critiquing her or calling her out for her shit or whatever was alt-right. I mean, this just goes to show how dishonest and sleazy the Washington Post is and how much fake news they sling. I mean, it's disgusting. In the middle of the campaign, John's hacked emails led to Pizzagate, a bizarre conspiracy theory about a child's sex ring. Finally, and against all expectations, he lost the bitterly fought election. Oh my God. Okay, first off, there was way more with his emails than the code for kiddie shit. For fucking child porn and fucking child molestation and yeah. Alright. There was more than just that. And I'm not saying either way on the Pizzagate shit. I don't believe that, shit's going on in a pizza place. I don't want people to think that I'm some whacked out person. But, for supposedly believing in something like that. But I do understand and do know that a lot, where there's power, there's depravity usually. When it comes to, especially, well, not necessarily conservative people. There are conservatives with depravity, but the more liberal you are, the less moralistic you are, the more depravity you have. It tends to be the case. Sorry to break it to you, but that's how it is. And I wouldn't be surprised if, he could be a kid diddler. It wouldn't shock me. And I'm not saying Pizzagate's real, because I honestly don't think that they would do this shit in a pizza place, so, yeah. What came out was, why don't we talk about the other shit that really came out, like rigging the shit against Bernie, just a lot of really sleazy shit going on behind the scenes with the DNC. I mean, WikiLeaks exposed a lot of shit. Why you gotta focus on Pizzagate? Oh, that's right. You're trying to basically paint this fucking picture to make the Podesta brothers look like perfect little angels. Well, Roxanne, I hate to break it to you, but you can't do that with the sleaze they are. It just doesn't work. And bitterly lost the election? Excuse me, but they thought they had the election in the bag because, oh, look at all those voting Democrats that were out of state and dead. And yeah, they thought they had the fix in the bag. They thought they had the election in the bag. Nice try. That's not bitterly losing. That's getting cocky, overconfident, and then getting bitch slapped. Now Tony's work for a Ukrainian non-profit group is part of Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller III's Russia investigation, prompting the powerful lobbyist to resign from the Podesta Group, the firm he founded 3 decades ago. Oh, you mean the Ukrainian non-profit that has ties to the Nazi regime, which is directly descended from actual Nazis in the Ukraine? That non-profit? Because all the Democrats are up to their friggin' gills in installing a neo-Nazi government in the Ukraine because they didn't like the fact that the Ukraine was friendly with Russia. He's now, hey, he was part of that. He's now getting dragged up in it. And Mueller, okay, speaking of Russia, with his involvement in Uranium One, okay, I highly, 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 highly doubt he's going to do much of anything. But it could lead to, on other notes, say, the Department of Justice investigating it. So this is just a situation where the left is running scared. Roxanne is spewing propaganda for the fake news outlet Washington Post, okay, because they're worried that all this Russia shit is going to blow up in their faces, and there's actually going to be key people like the Podesta brothers and Hillary Clinton, okay, going to prison. Because it isn't working on trying to frame Trump for their shit and trying to put Russia at his doorstep. And they're actually worried it's going to come back and be planted firmly and square in front of theirs. I mean, this is funny. So, yeah, you know, working with that nonprofit group, it forced him to resign. I love this. It prompted him, the powerful lobbyist, to resign from the Podesta Group, the firm he founded 3 decades ago. Now, they're going to try to spin this, you know, Tony, he's going to try to spin this because the thing is if he had to resign, there was a reason for that. A very serious and important reason, because you just don't resign for the sake of resigning. But watch this. I didn't leave with a sense of tragedy or regret about anything I had done, Tony said nonchalantly in an interview last week. I thought it was better for the clients and better for the people in the office for me to get out of there. Bullshit! I mean, hell, dude, that stinks to high heaven. You spewed so much shit there. I need a pair of hip waders reading it. You left because the shit's about to hit the fan or you're worried it's going to. That's what this is about. Not, well, I think it would be better. No. You left because of a fucking actual reason. His bravado notwithstanding, it's been a really bad year for the Podesta brothers, even by standards of political hand-to-hand combat. Oh, you think? Let's see. John got caught up in all the DNC corruption and collusion and rigging of the primaries. Oh, yeah, that could make for a bad year. They've become a particular fixation for President Trump, who has repeatedly attacked the two in tweets and interviews. Asking for them to be investigated is not attacking them. Okay? Calling them out for their corruption and criminality is not attacking them. Okay? It just doesn't work like that. I mean, so he's quote unquote attacked them in tweets and interviews. He's called for them to be investigated. On the eve of his current trip to Asia, he told reporters he was disappointed that the Justice Department is not investigating Hillary Clinton and her advisors instead of him. Honestly, they should be looking at the Democrats. They should be looking at Podesta and all of that dishonesty. And he's fucking right. But you see, you're trying to play it like, oh, no, he's the corrupt one. There's nothing wrong with the Podestas. They just had a rough year. It isn't because of their fucking criminality that one had to resign from, the Podesta group and is under investigation by Mueller. Oh, no. Come on now. Meanwhile, Fox News is calling the Podesta brothers central figures in the Mueller probe. Well, they might end up being because, Mueller, like a rat, might jump ship from them. Okay? He's fucking scared too, I bet, because he's fucking gills deep in uranium one. One might expect Tony Podesta to be angry and apprehensive all about this, and maybe he is. But at the moment, he's smiling and cracking jokes. Well, yeah, that's because he's a sleazeball and he's going to cover up how he's really feeling. But on the inside, I'm sure he's feeling more than apprehensive and angry. He's probably shitting himself. Actually, it's more like he's probably shitting purple Twinkies right now. Because their whole push Russia onto Trump thing, this whole situation of countering the fact that they didn't expect him to win and thinking they were actually going to come out on top is backfiring. They're scared shitless right now that everything's going to blow up on them. And I hope it does. There was a period when I was at People for American Way in which I was the devil. And this is another period where I am the devil, he says. I don't retreat from my values or my life because Tucker Carlson makes shit up. Oh, really? Makes shit up? No. Everything that's come out, and we're not even talking about Tucker Carlson, because what he's pulling from is from the alternative media. So why don't you say what it is? That people like me make shit up when we're literally pulling stuff. When it came to you having everything blow up in your face when you were running Hillary's campaign. It was the alternative media, okay, going through your emails that made that happen. Okay, it was Julian Assange and WikiLeaks that made that happen. That ain't making shit up because it's your own fucking emails, you dumb shit. How the hell did you run? Oh, that's right. Well, you didn't run a successful campaign. I was just about to say, how the hell did you run a presidential campaign? And it dawned on me, it wasn't a successful one. And that says a lot. And he's laughing off the president. Bullshit. He don't like the fact that Trump's there, and he knows that if the public's attention ends up being longer than 140 characters, okay, attention longer than a tweet, all right, having an attention longer than a goldfish, and focuses on what's going on here, he's worried he's going to end up in prison, okay? God only knows how bad and how deep things go with the criminality and corruption with this man, and with both of them. You just don't know. I mean, you've got Tony working with Ukrainian fucking Nazis. You got John rigging fucking primaries. I mean, that's just the tip of the fucking iceberg. If you tweet Podesta, you get some applause from people who don't know who we are or what we do, he says. He has his phone, and I have my integrity. No, dude, we know who the fuck you are and what you do. We're not stupid. We're not as dumbed down as Democrat voters. The people who voted for Trump. They made a conscientious choice. Okay, they weren't blinded by the fact of mob mentality. They weren't blinded by the fact of some bullshit glass ceiling and breaking it. Okay, they weren't the dumbed down common denominator of voter that votes Democrat. So I think you need to stop projecting there. And what integrity? A man with integrity would not have rigged the Democratic primaries in the favor of his candidate. So what was that about integrity? For all the talk about the Podestas being Washington insiders, and they absolutely are, the irony is that they grew up as far from the elite as possible. No, they just grew up in the heart of corrupt politics in the United States, where dead people tend to vote in large amounts of numbers and actually use the cemetery that they're buried in as their address. This is a matter of historical fact. The Kennedy election had happened, for example. They literally had dead people with their registered addresses as the cemeteries they were buried in. So to try to say that they were far from the elite as possible is complete bullshit, because Chicago politics has a lot of elites in it. So keep talking out your fucking ass. And then they ended up going from there to Washington for law school, where they made those ties. But I'm getting ahead of myself. They were born in working class Chicago to two first-generation Americans. Their father Italian, their mother Greek. The family living in a two-flat. You mean a double-decker tenement? Let's be honest. They grew up in a fucking tenement. Alright? Part of my life, I lived in a fucking tenement. But we can't call them tenements anymore, because that's politically incorrect. So they grew up in a two-flat with their aunt and uncle and cousins in the apartment upstairs. So, first off, they were born to Americans. It doesn't matter if they were first generation or not. But you're doing this identity politics bullshit. So, you mentioned how their parents were first generation. Well, my father's first generation. Big fucking whoop. Don't mean shit. Okay? That means they're fucking American. But no. You say they're first generation born Americans. Well, that means they're Americans. Their father Italian, their mother Greek. Italian and Greek are nationalities. Okay, well, Greek is kind of an ethnicity, and Italian is kind of an ethnicity. But they follow national borders. Okay? Because when you include Italy, you look at Sicily. Alright? Sicily has the Italian genealogy, Arab genealogy, Greek genealogy, because it was a melting pot. It was a trading hub. So, what would be more accurate is to say that they are Americans, one of Italian descent, the other of Greek. But you see, you got to play up that identity politics, so you're going to fucking say it the way you did. Their father worked factory jobs and lost sleep worrying about the $11,000 he borrowed to buy the apartment, Tony says. Tony attended the University of Illinois at Chicago. John went to Knox College. Yeah, and the thing is, he borrowed $11,000 for a double-decker. He's got relatives picking up part of the mortgage, living in the other unit. So, yeah, you're just kind of playing off of the sympathy here. I'm calling bullshit on this one. From this background, colored by the Vietnam War and the political upheaval of the 1960s and 70s, emerged two men with a shared passion for liberal issues and a weakness for losing candidates. They worked for Gene McCarthy, Edmund Muskie, George McGovern, and many more. We weren't doing it to go to the White House, Tony says. We were doing it because we believed in what we were doing. Oh, bullshit. No, you did it hoping you'd get into the White House, because I remember McGovern. Okay? You hoped you were getting in the White House. Shut up. If you to say that, you're full of shit. Because proof is in the pudding. Okay? Just look at John's emails. Okay? And all the corruption. Him dictating to the press what they should be covering. Him getting the questions. And him and Hillary. This is a beautiful one. This is one of my favorite ones. Him and Hillary discussing one of the members of, what was it, the National Socialist something or other that was at the Unite the Right. He was a very close ally to Hillary Clinton and Podesta, Democrat. And in that email, in the emails, there's an email between Hillary and Podesta talking about the fact of how he's not to get a position in the White House, but he's to get like 4 updates or briefings a week or some shit like that. Some real fucked up shit. Alright, you don't do that unless you're trying to win an election. So keep talking out your ass there, buddy. Alright, because if your brother will do that, and you'll work with fucking Nazis in the Ukraine, dude, I don't believe anything that comes out of your mouth. Alright, if I see your lips moving, either one of you, I know you're lying. That's how full of shit you both are. The two made their way to Washington, where they both attended law school at Georgetown University, worked briefly in government, then founded the Podesta Group in 1987. Their paths quickly diverged, Tony working outside politics, lobbying, fundraising, and serving as president of People for the American Way, the progressive advocacy group founded by TV producer Norman Lear. John on the inside, in the Clinton and Obama administrations, and as the head of the Center for American Progress, the premier liberal think tank during the George W. Bush years. Oh, you mean that propaganda house? Because that's kind of what it was. And I might sound like I'm from the right. I'm not. I truly am a libertarian. Okay? But we're talking about them. So I'm calling them out for their shit. And if that makes me sound like I'm on the right for calling them out, believe that. I really don't care. And the thing is, when you have someone like John working on the inside with the Clintons and the Obama administration, the Clintons, the Obama administration, all of that, and all the corruption and things like that going on, all the illegal activities. I mean, look at Benghazi, Operation Fast and Furious. On the note of during the election, them bringing it against Bernie during the primaries. Questions being given to Hillary and Podesta dictating what the press covers. And I mean, you have a situation where you have to take notice. And if you don't take notice and you think that this is the true life story, look at where it's being published in the Washington Post, the style section. The two brothers, who are very close, became power brokers on a first-name basis with every important figure in American progressive politics, American identity politics, we'll say, would probably be more accurate, and many more across the aisle. Yeah, establishment rhino neocons. Yeah. Every call they made was answered. Every door they knocked on opened. Yeah, because they had power and money and influence, and they could get people to give money to these these politicians. Yeah, that's what got the doors opened. Tony, 74, is expansive, expressive, a happy warrior. He's partisan in the traditional way, which is rapidly disappearing in Washington, says longtime Republican lobbyist Wayne Berman. He understands the value of having friends on the other side. It's happy partisanship, not bitter partisanship. He's a fucking... Oh my God. I don't buy this shit. Yeah, you've got a sleazy fucking lobbyist saying that a sleazy Podesta is a good guy. Ringing endorsement of character. Couldn't find anyone better on the list. He wears red Prada loafers and owns one of the capital's most impressive modern art collections, which serves as the backdrop for frequent parties he hosts at Calamora Mansion. The collection began when he worked for the failed 1980 presidential bid of Senator Edward M. Kennedy, Democrat, Mass. You mean Teddy Kennedy? You mean Chappaquiddick Kennedy? You mean wouldn't play pole position with Reagan in the 80s because he was afraid to cross the bridge Kennedy? That one? Yeah, I thought so. And walked away with a tube of donated art, limited editions of Andy Warhol and Robert Rauschenberg in lieu of a salary. You know how desperate a Kennedy is when he can't pay in cash and he's paying in fucking artwork. In modern fucking shit artwork. In postmodern shit. It just goes to show how desperate Teddy was back then. Always well known in political circles, Tony became a celebrity with his high-profile second marriage to lobbyist Heather Podesta. The two were a striking couple on Washington's sometimes traditional social scene, frequently photographed in front of one of their paintings or sculptures. The marriage ended after 11 years with no children but a custody battle over the art. Which goes to show how the liberal leftist elite are. No kids, but yeah, we'll actually have a custody case over the fucking art. Oh, Jesus. This is such a fucking propaganda fluff piece bullshit thing that Roxanne and the Washington Post are working towards really wanting to have that fake news thing cemented in as like a permanent fixture for when someone mentions Washington Post, it's automatically there in another person's face or their face. John 68 declined to be interviewed for this article. Well, I wonder why. Could it be the fact that he's running a little scared, running just a bit scared shitless away from like a situation where he could end up in prison? Friends and colleagues describe him as more methodical, lawyerly, and ideological. He's a homebody, married to his wife, married for almost 40 years, with 3 grown children and hobbies that include cooking, running, and UFOs. Yeah, UFOs. So what? Him and that dude from fucking Ancient Aliens get together, smoke a lot of weed, and while that dude's going, it's aliens, he's going, it's Russians. It's Russian aliens. They're all fried and they're sitting there passing joint, fucking talking conspiracies between aliens and the Russians and collusion with the fucking federal government and shit. I mean, I can just picture that one. But his real passion is progressive politics, and to liberals, he's a true believer and a hero. He's not into progressive politics. He's a globalist. This has nothing to do with identity, with this progressive bullshit. Okay? When you're in bed with the Clintons and Obama, you're a fucking globalist. Call him what he is. He's a deep state globalist piece of shit. At least I think he is. There's not anyone who I've worked with who's more committed, has more integrity, and is just smarter. Not just in politics, but how you get things done in government, says Jennifer Palmieri, who worked with him at CAP and in the White House. Yeah, okay. I love this. This is a fluff piece to distract people away from the fact that the Podesta brothers are going down. Alright. They are like the Titanic of Washington, or at least the Democrats at the moment. Would probably be more accurate. All right, they're going down, and it's how many people are they taking with them? That's what it's looking like at this point. And they're trying to spin shit. They're trying to shape public perception. I mean, this is why this is in the style section, because they could not put this fluff piece in as news. This should actually be in the opinion section, because it's opinion. Dennis McDonough, who served as Obama's White House chief of staff, describes his strengths as fervid commitment to democratic ideas like opportunity and justice. You mean what we already have? Or at least what we actually had before you fuckers started messing with shit. A willingness to fight for those ideas, and fight hard, and a practice for supporting and believing in his people, be they candidates, presidents, or fellow staff members. Oh my God. This is such fucking propagandist bullshit. Conservatives, on the other hand, consider him an unreconstructed partisan and blame him for a lot of the mistrust and anger in Washington because of the way he advised Obama to issue executive orders to circumvent Congress and the legislative process. Oh, so, wait a minute. He tells Obama to do unconstitutional shit, and then you're trying to act like there's nothing to see here. Call it what it is. But if you did that, then you couldn't do the nothing to see here. Because what he did was advise Obama to circumvent the Constitution of the United States, to circumvent Congress as well, to circumvent multiple branches of the government and issue executive orders. That's fucking sleazy. But yet you're trying to play it like, well, they had no reason to get upset with him. Holy shit. There's an enormous gulf between many people's opinions of John and Tony, and of Tony, said one former Republican politician. Tony is obviously a big Democrat, but he has Republican friends and represents some clients that have more in common with the Republican side than the Democratic side. John is a hard partisan. A lot of people think of him as more strident, doing things that have never been done before to get your way. Oh, like rig the primaries for the Democrats? Yeah. That's true, yeah. He'll do things that have never been done before, regardless of legality. Very true. Tony chose a smoother path, and according to lobbyists on both sides of the aisle, is respected by his peers as a creative, hands-on advocate. Ooh. Big fucking whoop. He's still a fucking sleazy scumbag who worked with Ukrainian Nazis. So, your fucking point? Still a successful lobbyist, and Tony built his firm into one of the top lobbying shops in the country. Walks a delicate line between principle and profit. For every feel-good cause or non-profit client, there's a corporation or foreign government with public relations problems and buckets of money to spend. Oh my God. He basically created a Ponzi scheme to funnel money from the states directly to Hillary Clinton that was being donated to the Democrat parties of the state and also of the DNC. And you're portraying him like this. Are you kidding me? To it, Tony's work for Saudi Arabia has caused some raised eyebrows among human rights activists. Last year, the Podesta Group, one of several lobbying and PR shops the Saudis hired, was paid $140,000 a month by the Center for Studies and Media Affairs at the Saudi Royal Court, a government entity. Yeah, he's pushing progressive politics, and he's taking the money of a country where women are oppressed, are actually and factually and truly repressed and oppressed. Well, not repressed. oppressed. Unlike here. So yeah, he's a man who sticks to his moral fiber and character and is partisan. No. He's only partisan to money. I have no apologies to make, which doesn't mean that everything my clients have ever done is wise or admirable, Tony says. You try to help people to tell their story, and you try to make them better. I think that's all to the good. The two brothers made Washington's most powerful list every year. Life was good. Yeah, until they fucking went up against Trump. In February 2015, John left the White House to join Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. It was, by all indications at the time, the start of another road to the executive mansion. Yeah, with him probably going to get a nice little fucking position there. Backfired, didn't it? Hundreds of books will be written about the 2016 presidential race, and we'll leave it to historians to sort out what and the why. But one of the most unsettling chapters was Pizzagate. The debunked conspiracy theory that linked Hillary Clinton to a non-existent child sex ring at Comet Ping Pong, a Washington pizza restaurant. The Podestas were fans and friends with the owner, James Alefantis. Okay, well, first off, it was way more than that. It's actually Pedogate, but you're focusing on the Pizzagate factor because you're trying to show, oh yeah, you want people to think about this guy going in there that was armed and all that other shit because you're trying to make it sound like, you know, he's a perfect little fucking angel. But if you go through his emails, and I suggest anyone who wants to see for themselves, there is a lot of strange code in there, which people who understand the child sex trafficking thing say are code for like things with kids or kids themselves. So I mean, these are people who are experts in that particular field, like say investigators and that have come out and said this. And it should be left up to the individual to decide on whether or not he could be a kid diddler. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And you want to talk about Hillary Clinton and a child trafficking ring. Haiti. Clinton Foundation, elbows deep, if not more, in child trafficking with Haiti. Yet, she's, walking free and keeps getting away with shit. It's disgusting. In the fall of 2016, John's personal emails were hacked and released by WikiLeaks. They were not hacked and released by WikiLeaks. They were released by WikiLeaks. They weren't hacked by them. They were actually basically taken by Seth Rich, which, has pretty much been confirmed by WikiLeaks and Assange, who have all but flat out said it was him. So, yeah. An enthusiastic amateur chef, he made frequent references to food, which became the basis for a theory that emails were code for sex trafficking and child pornography. Yeah, cheese, pizza, and fucking hot dogs. Amateur chef of hot dogs. Five-year-old hot dogs, yeah. CP, cheese pizza, child porn. It's actually documented code for it. Oh my god. Amateur chef, he made frequent references to food, which became the basis for the theory that the emails were code for sex trafficking and child pornography, because experts said that. Although completely unsubstantiated. No, substantiated by experts who are investigators or, psychological experts, whether they're, shrink stealing with the victims or profilers or whatever, have come out and said what those things stand for. So, fuck you. So, although it has been substantiated, it quickly... Okay, that doesn't make sense if I try to change it, so I'm just going to... Although completely unsubstantiated, it quickly became viral sensation and appeared on alt-right websites and forums. No, it appeared in the alternative media. David fucking Seaman. I think that's his name. He's not alt-right, and he was one of the biggest... One of the ones covering this in great detail. He was one of the biggest names in covering it. Nice try. The restaurant was, as Elephantis put it, terrorized by threatening calls and letters. I was inundated with death threats, and sometimes many a day, he wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post. Yeah, and the funny thing is, when you have really freaky pictures, yeah, of like questionable sex acts or what look like children, you know, in paintings and shit, or abuse and things like that, yeah. A lot of those calls were also because of the fact of those pictures, you know, the paintings and shit in his business. And them getting wide attention with the whole thing. And how they kind of back his predilection towards children. Or his possible predilection would be more accurate, because I don't want to get nailed for slander or libel. In December, after watching a YouTube video about the conspiracy, a 28-year-old man stormed in with a rifle, firing shots but not injuring anyone. Watching John go through the Russians, stealing his emails, then working to concoct 6 conspiracy theories to hurt him, and Hillary Clinton was one of the toughest things to see, Palomari says. He acts like it doesn't bother him, but it does. Seth Rich is a Russian? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was Russians who did it, but yet Donna Brazil hired fucking security fearing for her life because Seth Rich was offed. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This came after another vicious conspiracy floated just days before the election that the Podesta brothers had secretly traveled to Portugal in 2007 and kidnapped Madeleine McCann, a British child at the center of an unsolved disappearance. Never heard about this. Never fucking heard about this. Just didn't get any coverage. I don't know what... You're pulling out this far-fetched shit to try to... Oh my god. This is fucking hilarious. So it's no surprise Tony Podesta's link to Mueller's indictment of former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort has caused a frenzy. Probably because, you know, there's something going on there with Podesta, with Tony. And, yeah, he's facing some serious fucking shit. The indictment says that Manafort recruited 2 firms identified as Company A and Company B to lobby on behalf of a supposedly independent Ukrainian nonprofit. The investigation into Manafort claims that he was in fact secretly working for the then Ukrainian president, Viktor Yanukovych. I hope I said that correctly. Yeah, so basically, yeah, like I said, working for fucking Nazis. Gotta love it. Podesta and the other firm, Mercury Public Affairs, say that they were hired by the European Center for a Modern Ukraine, a non-profit group based in Brussels, to boost Ukraine's reputation in the United States and increase its chances of joining the European Union. Both firms claim that they were unaware of any connection to the Ukrainian government. Bullshit. McCain, on the note of, say, neocon rhinos, okay, on the right. And almost all these people in the Obama administration were involved in the overthrow of the Ukrainian government that was friendly to Russia. They installed a neo-Nazi regime that has direct ties to actual Nazis that ran the country when it was occupied by the Nazis. And you've got a situation where they're trying to fucking, oh, nothing to see here. You know, there's a lot of that going on. And I love how they put this shit out here and then they play stupid. Well, I didn't know. Well, bullshit. I love how you won't even bring up the fact of the ties, you know, going back to Hitler in the 1940s with the group that's behind this little organization. It's kind of scary. And what the fuck is a Ukrainian group being based out of Brussels? What's up with that? I mean, that's another thing that should kind of raise a little bit of a red flag. Both firms claim they weren't aware of any connection to the Ukrainian government. I love that last part. Bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. The Podesta Group received $1.1 million between 2012 and 2014 from the organization. Yeah, to basically help Nazis get some favorable status in the United States and the EU. Gotta love it. Its representation was originally listed under the Lobbyist Disclosure Act, but not the Foreign Agents Registration Act, as required. A Podesta Group spokeswoman says that following media reports that the ECMU may have been connected to Ukraine's government, the firm submitted new disclosure forms, after which the FAR office at DOJ informed the Podesta Group that it was not the subject nor the target of an investigation. Oh, well, they probably should be. And I love the way they start the next paragraph. Legalities aside. No! Not legalities aside. Legality should be up front, in your face, and the first thing you should be looking at, whether what they're doing is illegal, legal, or what. So legalities aside, the question among lobbyists in Washington is why someone at the top of his game, like Tony, would have anything to do with Manafort, whom one Republican lobbyist described as a shady businessman advocating for murderers, thugs, and thieves, even if those criminals were heads of state. Tony is helping fucking Nazis. Literal and actual Nazis. With the Ukrainian situation. And people are wondering how he has ties with Manafort. I would think the other fucking way around. And I think Manafort's a sleazeball. I mean, come on now. Sources close to the Podesta Group claim that Manafort was not involved with the ECMU at the time the firm worked on his behalf. Sure. Tony declined to comment on anything involving the investigation. His company has fully cooperated with Mueller's office and taken every possible step to provide documentation that confirms compliance with the law, according to the spokeswoman. Yeah, bullshit. But I'm sure Mueller... I'm sorry. It's not Mueller. It's Mueller. Okay? When it's spelt the way it is... Okay? He's of German descent. It's Mueller. Okay? It wasn't Ferris Bueller. Okay? It's Ferris Bueller. Spelt the same fucking way in that first part. You know, that those two vowels together. Oh, God. I'm sorry, but this is just fucking ridiculous. We got a guy who won't own up to his German heritage, investigate, who's neck deep in Uranium One. I couldn't make this shit up if I wanted to. Tony declined to comment. And it's just funny that he did. He hasn't said a word. But the news was enough to end Tony's tenure at his own firm. He resigned just hours after Manafort's indictment went public. And the only reason why he would do that is because he knows he's fucked. He knows that if he didn't do that, the Podesta Group could be taken down with him. So it comes down to a situation where... let's see how far he gets taken down. If he's bowing out of his own company, he's worried that he's going down hard. So there's no telling whether there will be another chapter in the Podesta story. Will the Podesta Group survive? According to a report in Politico, Chief Executive Kimberly Fritz, who is widely expected to take over the helm from Tony, announced her own resignation to the staff on Thursday, throwing the company's future in question. Yeah, well, sounds like she might have had some involvement in the sketchy shit. Oh, and you're trying to spin this. It's so fucking hilarious. Oh my God. This is why you get called fake news. You couldn't put this in any other section except style, and it doesn't even fit in style. But you had to push this bullshit. So you had to find somewhere to toss it. John, meanwhile, is closely linked with both Clinton and Obama at the time when the Democrats are desperately looking for a fresh start. But he's still considered one of the smartest strategists in politics and is likely, observers say, to advise future campaigns, although not in an official capacity. Yeah, because they don't want his name remotely attached to them. They're fucking scared of that shit. Okay? He's like the plague. Alright? He's Black Death. Okay? To an extent. So they're avoiding him like he is. And Tony, he's going to take some time off, travel, relax, refresh, and then, he insists, he'll be back hosting parties and fundraisers, doing what Podestas always do. I'm not borrowed, I'm not retreating, he says. These are perilous times for our country and for the world. I hope we get through them. Translation, he hopes he gets through things without going to jail. I mean, this is just pathetic. You have a situation where the Podestas are going down, and they're trying to soften the blow by slinging a bunch of propaganda, lies, and bullshit. It's not even factual propaganda. It's fucking hilarious that they need to push this shit. But they have no legitimate place to push it. So it ends up in the style section. The style section, where they talk about, you know, what's the new in fashion, and the latest, you know, on the note of the latest designers and styles. And how the hell does Podestas and fashion go hand in hand? They really don't. Anyway, I think I've covered this well enough. So I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.